Hey guys, and welcome back to another First Thoughts. We just saw Jordan Peele's Us. So in case you don't know what this is, it's his new horror movie from the director of Get Out. Jordan Peele, he's from Key and Peele, but he's doing horror movies now, and this is his second one. And I'm not going to talk too much about the plot right now. I'll save that for spoilers because it's all pretty intricate and it's all pretty spoiler filled. So we're just gonna talk about a few things and then we'll get into spoilers pretty early on in this one. So first of all, I just wanted to say I liked it a lot. I liked Get Out better though. I thought Get Out was a more completed script. I felt like it was more polished. I felt like this had a really good idea and it didn't feel like it was fully fleshed out when they actually went into production with this.
I mean, as far as directing goes and cinematography, he knows what he's doing.
Like, no, definitely.
Yeah, he creates a creepy environment. The feeling to the movie was, when it needed to be eerie, was eerie and creepy and suspenseful. He knows what he's doing with that stuff. He has some great camera angles, and thank God it wasn't over the top with any jump scares. Actually, I think there was like one, maybe two.
Yeah, there was a couple of minor jump scares, but they weren't like the focal point of the horror. Yeah. It was just kind of like when a situation would ask for one in real life, like somebody jumps around a corner at you and you're like, there's a person.
They felt natural, not forced.
Yeah. So, or there's a more subtle way of doing it where, not to give anything away, but there's a scene where somebody was laying on the ground you thought was dead, and you come back and that person's not laying on the ground anymore, and the main character's like, oh no, where? Where are they? And you're like, that was done well and done moderately. Like, it wasn't the whole focus of the horror. I will say though, I felt like the first half hour of this movie was one of the creepiest, one of the best shot, well-written horror movies I'd ever seen. And then the other hour and a half was pretty good.
Yeah.
I really thought that the first half hour got my expectations up so high that the rest of it just felt pretty good after that, which is kind of a shame because if it had all been that good, I would not have been disappointed at all. But because the first half hour was so good, it was kind of a little bit of a letdown after that, but not too much.
I agree that the first half hour really, like, it built the suspense of, like,
so well,
because I didn't even see any trailer, so I didn't know what this was about, so I'm trying to get a sense of what this might be about, and the first half hour is just making it felt like it was like, all right, get to the movie, but I don't want you to, because this is like setting it up so nice,
so good.
I really like the directing of it. That's the most impressive thing for me.
I pointed out to you on the way out, there's this shot, not to give anything away again, but there's this shot where she's going down an escalator. The main character's going down an escalator, and it's just like this narrow kind of hallway, and it's all yellow lights, and it's so symmetrical, and it's so just beautiful. Like, it's just a classic, like, something like, you know, almost Kubrick-esque type shot. Like, it looked so good. I was like, for most of the movie, I'm not really paying attention to it. I'm paying attention to the creep factor. I'm paying attention to the plot, figuring out what's going to happen next. But in that moment, I just was like, ooh, that looks nice.
Yeah. Maybe it's just me, but horror movies, no matter how good it is, I personally just don't get too, like, scared.
Right.
People always like, oh, that was scary, and I never get that. Even as good as this was, I didn't get that with this, but I could hear other people making comments like, oh, like, and stuff like that. I don't, for me personally, that's just a personal thing. It's not, I guess, against the movie or anything.
I would say the same thing. Like, my favorite horror movies of all time don't hunt me at night. It's like brain food. Like, it makes my brain happy to consume this entertainment, but I was always intrigued to see what was going to happen.
That's exactly
I wanted to know what was going to happen.
Exactly. Yes.
I'm paying attention to every little miniature detail so I can try and predict what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating. It was so well written. Like I said at the beginning, not quite as well written as Get Out. I felt like that was a more complete, well-rounded script. This, ultimately, though, is still entertaining just for the idea of it, is a very good idea. Like, I really feel like it was such a good idea, and I just wish he'd taken an extra, like, 4 or 6 months to write it out, make it a little bit more polished up, but still good. There were some scenes you were pointing out that it kind of crossed the line where it shouldn't have been funny when it was, but for the most part, I'd say like 90% of it, the laughs made me laugh, and I was glad that they were there. The father character was very funny. I was wondering why Jordan Peele didn't just play him himself,
that's
but
what
I guess he doesn't want to act in his own movies.
Yeah.
I guess he wants
That's
to.
what I said to you. It's like they got the guys like, all right, now just act like me.
Just be me.
Just be
Okay. Just be me. Just do that.
It always
Do what
sounded
I
like
would
him
do.
at times too.
Yeah, and it was kind of like his caricature of like a father type character.
Yeah.
And I mean, I loved the character, but for the first couple minutes, I was like, why Jordan Peele?
There were
Right.
moments for me that I felt it shouldn't have been there. Just
Right.
not that it wasn't funny. I still laughed even though it was in the middle of an intense scene that kind of like it's almost like Marvel, how like they just drop jokes in the middle of the most intense scene that takes you out of it completely. And for me,
Or the beginning of Star Wars Episode 7.
yeah, or yeah, the
So
new
who's
Star
supposed
Wars.
to talk? You gonna talk? I'm gonna talk.
Yeah,
Shut up.
almost everything was funny. Whether I felt it should have been there or not is a different story, but all of it was funny, and it was very much his humor. You could tell he wrote this movie as far as
Yeah,
the humor
yeah.
goes. It's his humor.
I was confused by the amount that people in the audience were laughing at things I didn't think were supposed to be funny, and I
either,
didn't
yeah.
find funny. I
Yeah.
was like, why are we laughing?
And not like
here?
in an ironic way either. Like they genuinely were laughing at it. And I'm like, this is not
Like,
bad funny.
so,
It's
like,
not actually funny.
the other versions of them kind of like walk weird and talk weird. They've all got kind of like some sort of twitch
That's right.
or something going on. And there's this one character who walked kind of goofy, and people were laughing, and I was like, I think it's creepy.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was a very creepy walk, creepy attitude, and they're laughing, and I was like, why? I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it.
One thing I'm really on the fence for right now is the way the woman was talking. I don't know if I
Yeah.
felt it was creepy or not.
I didn't find it creepy. I didn't hate it, though. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it.
Very on the fence right now.
I was
about
just
it.
like, yeah, that was a choice. I didn't have a feeling about it. So like I thought in the trailer it worked very well, where she's got the one line in the trailer where she goes, be careful or something like that. And I don't think that line was in the movie. And it was also her best line. So I was kind of like, well, I wish that she said that in the movie, because in the trailer I thought it worked well. In the movie, I didn't think any of her lines stuck very well. Man, it's raining and that's very loud, and I hope you can hear us well. God damn. But yeah, so I mean, I didn't hate the voice. I didn't love the voice. I was just kind of like, all right, that's the character. I can live with that.
yeah.
It's not a memorable villain or anything.
Right. I was thinking like, as I was listening to her talk, I'm like, she's trying to be like creepy. It almost felt like it would have been great if like she was trying to use like Heath Ledger's voice when he did the Joker. If she kind of sounded like that, it would have been a little creepier.
But it
Yeah.
sounded genuinely painful
Yeah,
for her to
she-
speak.
yeah.
Which it was very good acting.
Yeah, the whole- everyone acted-
yeah,
everyone,
across
yeah,
the board.
everyone,
The
yeah.
acting in this movie was phenomenal, except for I had a couple of problems with the little boy. He had a couple of moments he wasn't great, but for the most part, like, he was even good.
Yeah.
So, but the main character woman, I forget the actress's name, but she's phenomenal.
Yes.
She was so good in this. I thought that everybody else held their own at least.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was very well acted, and it generally sounded painful, which was the point.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what she
yeah,
was supposed to sound like. She was in pain when she was talking, and it genuinely sounded like she was. I thought that it was not necessarily the most creepy choice of voice,
Right.
but it was definitely the most realistic choice of voice. Ultimately, I'm like straddling the idea of it being predictable and it being very well written, because oftentimes when I can predict what's happening, it's annoying, and I'm like, of course they went with that cliche, they went
Right.
with that cliche. And I predicted probably 80-85% of what was going to happen in this movie, but every time something happened, it was done so well that I didn't mind.
Right.
And it's not going to be the most shocking story. Like, I picked up on some key elements of what was going to happen in this just simply from the trailer, which is always a bad thing. But honestly, I wasn't disappointed, and there was still more in that 20 to 15% that I didn't predict that made it interesting on top of that. So I really thought that it was very well written. You might be able to predict what's going to happen before it happens, but you'd still probably, I don't think, be disappointed in it. I wasn't. More so in the beginning than later on, but it was very heavily inspired by The Twilight Zone, I feel like. And maybe even a little bit of Black Mirror. And it was that kind of feel of that kind of alternate reality type movie. Even though this isn't, well, I guess it's kind of an alternate reality. All movies are to an extent. But it really did feel like a Twilight Zone episode just drawn out. And that's another thing about it. as long as it was like 2 hours. It felt like it went on for like 4 hours, and for the most part that wasn't an issue. I really didn't think it was an issue. But like, it's almost like when you're riding a roller coaster and you're like, it's still going. Like, it's like you're having fun, you're not complaining, you're just surprised. Like, how is this still going? Like, okay.
Yeah, it never felt like it dragged.
No.
Pacing was good. Yeah, it never dragged at all, not once. Pacing was good.
And up until the ending, not to spoil anything, but up until the ending, I was thinking, like, this could have been shorter. Like, I feel like they dragged this out unnecessarily a little bit, and it could have been shorter. We could have wrapped this up already. And then they've got, like, one final thing at the end that made me go, no, they needed to do it this way, and I'm fine with how they did it.
That last ending scene was real cool.
It was so good. It might have been the best part of the movie. Like, as good as the first half hour, the last scene was really good. I mean, there's not a whole lot we can say about it without getting into spoilers, because it's that kind of movie. But I recommend seeing it. I thought it was really good. Jordan Peele is definitely on my radar for any future projects. Go ahead and see it if you haven't, and I'm betting you haven't, because we're seeing it opening night. So go ahead and see it, and let me know in the comments below what you guys think, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We're going to be talking about spoilers right now. Ever since they showed the white rabbits in the trailer, I was going, so it's going to be like some sort of clone type situation. Now, I was a little bit wrong, because I thought it was going to be kind of like Get Out, and where it was going to be like simply to control a certain group's mind. And it wasn't in this, it's just widespread. So that took me by surprise. I mean, that's not a huge shock, but I was like, huh, okay, that's different. So he's expanding it to kind of like everybody, but at the same time, that almost made it feel like a zombie apocalypse movie at times. Did you get that vibe?
Not too much.
Not too much?
Not
okay,
too much.
Just me.
Yeah, just
right.
you're crazy.
But it was that kind of situation where, like, especially after they killed the second family, the white family, and they're all sitting there and they're like planning, like, should we stay here where we've got supplies? Should we go out somewhere safer? Should we just run? Should we get on the boat? And I was like, this feels like a zombie movie all of a sudden.
I guess when you say like, because when they left the first family, I was like, no way are they done that family. What are they going to do now? I wasn't even thinking like this is a worldwide phenomenon. I thought it was just a them. So I guess maybe when you branch out like World War Z type of, like, I feel to like
was it worldwide, or was it just that beach town?
Well, yeah, maybe they didn't even specify.
They
watched the news. It didn't say. I assumed it was local.
They kept it very vague, and I think on purpose, because once again, that same kind of tactic as like modern zombie movies. The less you say, the less you can be wrong about.
Yes.
So they try and keep it vague on purpose, so that you can't be like, oh, you're an idiot, you did something wrong.
Right.
And so you got the same kind of like blurbs from the newscaster and like found footage and stuff, and that part felt like a zombie movie too. So I mean, not in a bad way. It was a different kind of movie than I was expecting going in.
Yeah, I didn't know what to think.
I thought that the whole movie was gonna be like them in the house.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
and it wasn't at all. Like they're in the house for like maybe 40 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't know what to think, but when it started going, I'm like, okay, they're gonna be stuck in this house. Someone's gonna be torturing them.
Yeah.
When the family appeared, and I thought like, okay, they're just gonna lock them in the house and torture them somehow, but they got out. Like,
yeah, so fast.
Yeah, they got out.
So fast. Which once again, I'm not complaining, but it was definitely a different feel all around than I was expecting. Again, with the whole not explaining everything, but kind of leaving it open to interpretation. So maybe you know what's going on, maybe you don't. You never actually find out exactly who is the ones making these clones and controlling everybody.
That was my big question, is like, who's controlling who?
But they do have that little moment where the girl, before anything happens, goes, so you know the government's putting fluoride in our water to control us, right? And I feel like that was a hint at like this whole thing is government control. Maybe it's not. Maybe that was just to mislead you or whatever.
Right.
But I feel like every little thing is put in there by him for a reason. Like Jordan Peele's a huge fan of film.
Yeah.
He's a student of film. He loves it. So he loves to put in little things. I really enjoyed looking for things throughout the movie.
Once you pointed out the 11s, I started looking for stuff all over the place.
Dude,
every time I see a book in the background, I'm trying to read the spine of the book to see if it gives a hint to something.
And they got less subtle as they went.
Yeah.
But my favorite one, so okay, well they start out with the news, channel 11 at 11, and you're going, I'm paying attention to that now, because why else would that be there if not for, hey, pay attention? Same thing with the hands around the world. And I was waiting for so long for that to come full circle.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about it.
But so you've got 11:11, and then you've got, I think the second one is the guy holding up the sign, Jeremiah 11:11. So that one is fairly obvious. But then right after that, you've got this guy and a girl playing rock, paper, scissors, and they both do scissors 11:11, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It was so clever and so subtle. I loved it. Unfortunately, after that, it started getting a little more obvious, and they wanted you to notice it after that.
Did the trailer show that they killed with scissors? Because that might be important to mention. They kill with scissors a lot.
Oh yeah, well, I mean,
I didn't see the trailer, so
I mean, the posters are holding scissors.
Okay, so there you go.
So.
All right, so yeah, that makes okay.
Yeah.
And the other thing I didn't even like up until just a second ago, like in the very beginning, they had the message about the tunnels. I just forgot about that, and like didn't even think about it when they went underground, and I still didn't even.
Yeah.
It didn't click until just a moment ago, and I was about to bring up the the tunnel thing. Yeah.
I think the one thing that screwed me up or threw me off the track was at the beginning she goes into the Hall of Mirrors and she sees her clone for the first time, and I immediately go, they're gonna switch places.
Right.
And I'm like, oh shoot. And then they don't bring it up for the next 2 hours. So I was like, nah, I'm overthinking it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then that's the final plot twist. And I was like, God damn it, they did it, and that's so good. And I was like, because literally, like, if you can have a plot twist that everybody's expecting or somebody's expecting, and then have them not expect it anymore, that is brilliant writing.
It's almost like it was the obvious thing to do, and then he made you think he wasn't going that way, and then he did it anyway. Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's like I said in the non-spoiler section, these plot twists aren't necessarily surprises or something that you couldn't come up with on your own,
right?
But they're written so well that even though you might see them coming, you're going, that's good, that's really well written. Like from the rabbits being a dead giveaway that there's something going on with cloning, to the, you know, the possibility of switching out, to everything isn't that beyond comprehension, that beyond like, oh yeah, that would make sense. But it's so well done.
White rabbits are also something like symbolic of something. I just can't remember what it is. There's like the song it's from the 60s called White Rabbit. It's probably
the Alice in Wonderland thing?
It might
about going down the rabbit hole?
It might be, yeah, maybe.
I wonder if that's a connection. That's the thing too with, like, I know he's really smart, so he's probably got some stuff in there that I'm gonna not notice for a few times.
And you mentioned there was like one or two just brown or black bunnies and a mixed bunny, but the rest were white.
Yeah, that's why at the beginning I thought it was gonna be like only the black people are getting cloned so that we could like
social commentary or something.
No, not we. The white people, the bad white people are controlling, like trying to control the African American population. I thought it was going to be that kind of situation based off of that imagery, and then it wasn't. I don't know if I was just overthinking it or what.
No, I thought it too when I saw the white rabbit, and then because I assumed that the family that was outside was immediately. I thought it was just going to be kind of like a social commentary thing. That's what I thought it was going to go with, and it didn't. I was actually like taken back. There was a black family trying to kill the black wolf. They're twins.
Yeah, well,
we didn't know that at the moment. But.
Yeah, so especially coming from Jordan Peele, I thought it was going to be that vein, and then it wasn't. And I think maybe he did that on purpose because he knew people would assume that, and then he didn't do it. But regardless, I mean, it was good. Like we could nitpick a lot of these things, but regardless, it was good.
And it still could have had some of that in there. We just might have missed it. Or
I'm sure there's plenty of stuff we missed.
Like one of the things that I always find fascinating, and I learned this from watching like a lot of Alfred Hitchcock stuff. And see, there's everyone had a copyright. So 11:11, there's this like duality. Like one side was evil, one side was good. So like in a lot of scenes, like very subtly, like there was a lot of reflections going on.
Yeah.
The one scene, when she, like that scene you mentioned, she was going down the stairs. She was beautifully reflected on the floor. I thought that was really cool. When she was smushing her head into the thing, you could see her reflection. I just thought that was cool. Little subtle things like that. I always seem to notice that stuff. But yeah, so I thought that was real cool. And that went along with the 11:11, the whole double, and clearly doing it on purpose. And that just shows how detailed of a director he is. He's putting.
It's just intelligent.
Yeah,
it's very intelligent for what it is. Like the idea itself might not be the most intelligent idea, but it's just done well and it's done intelligently. It's kind of like when I was talking about Baby Driver before. Baby Driver, the concept of it is there's a getaway driver who wants to get out of the group, you know? That's not a clever movie idea,
Done over
but
and
it's
over.
done so well, so cleverly that the movie becomes great.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing with Edgar Wright as with Jordan Peele, where they're just students of film. They enjoy film, so they know that these are kind of tired cliches that they're working with, but they're going to make them well. They're going to do them the right way, and I really appreciated it.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel every movie.
Right.
As long as you do what's done before well, it works. And
Yeah.
it always works.
And you have appreciation for how film is supposed to be.
There's actually a reason that like it's done that way so often, because when it's done well, it works so well, so people constantly try and imitate that and fail.
But they take shortcuts and they're
fail.
sloppy, and then
or they don't actually understand.
Yeah, they're just following it because that's the cookie cutter. So why not?
And horror is one of the genres that suffers from that the most. I feel like, because it's very genre, very cookie cutter, like you said. Every slasher, you can almost predict everything that's going to happen. But but the good ones are the ones that throw you off a little bit or do it well enough that it's fine that you knew this jump scare was coming or something like that. And just horror these days, they don't know how to write it. They don't understand what scares people. And I felt like Jordan Peele did. Yeah. The whole time, like you said, like I don't get overly scared, but I can still sense that he's doing it very well. Yeah. And that like he's creating this anxiety.
And it makes you interested.
Yeah.
That's the key to horror. Is you're not just going, all right, count down to the next jump scare. Yeah. You're going like, okay, so what's the plot? What's happening next? There's a main character that I give a crap about. Yeah. Like that's rare enough in horror movies.
Yeah. Because they don't spend enough time developing characters a lot of times.
Yeah, and we had plenty of time to develop these characters.
That whole half hour.
We cared about them. Yeah, we cared about all of them. Here's the thing, though, where I was talking about foreshadowing always meaning something. Maybe it doesn't, though, because there was that mislead at one point where the wife of the other family says that she wants to murder the husband. And I turned to you and said, that's going to come back. And it didn't. So maybe he was purposely throwing in missteps there, like horror cliche type lines.
That actually had me thinking that's because at that point we still hadn't found that there was like a shadow family. So like at that point, like I was thinking, oh, that's the family that's going to trap him in the house and try and kill him.
See, I saw the trailer, so I knew that wasn't going to happen. But I was thinking that when their shadow family came, I had two thoughts. Thought that, one, when the other family's shadow family came, that the husband would kill the real husband right away, and then the wife would have to kill the shadow husband, and that would come back full circle. That didn't happen. And then the other thought was that family was actually behind the scheme in some way. Right. So then maybe the wife from the main family would kill the husband from the other family, and she'd be like, say a funny line about it or something like, oh, I was supposed to kill him. Or you can't. I don't know. I'm not the comedy writer. I was just thinking that something would come up with that, and neither did. So that was like a very interesting, like, oh, here's something for later. Oh, wait, no, not really. So I wonder how many of those actually were in there.
The young boy's shadow twin, he wore like a mask, and I thought it was really clever that throughout the movie, the non-shadow boy, Jason, that's his name. He would wear the mask occasionally, and that's very obviously symbolic.
And that was something that was in the trailer too, and so I knew he was going to wear the mask because the shadow was going to wear the mask. But he did it so naturally and so organically that I was like, yeah, he's a kid wearing a mask because he's having fun. And I was never, even though I knew what was going to happen, I wasn't going, this feels scripted. So that's just good writing. Yeah, that's just really good writing.
And when towards the end, when Jason's shadow twin, when he was mocking him and he ended up backing up into the fire, now he has like a half burnt face. Do you think there's any sort of timeline thing that's like symbolic? Like maybe this is how he got it.
I don't know. I think that's probably just another thing that he's leaving vague for us to try and hypothesize about. Just talk about.
Or maybe it already happened and happened again because the whole movie is about like 11/11, the double. If it happened again, don't burn his face. Probably not. Edit that out.
So you're telling me that this isn't what's real. I'm not allowing this to be real. But you're telling me that the whole thing has already been done and there's another clone. They're going to keep cloning themselves and keep repeating this process over and over again. They're going to keep surfacing and taking over the population of the world, and then creating a new clone army to then. That's what you said, and that's what's in my brain now. I don't think that's what this movie's about.
There's gonna be a sequel. We don't even know.
God damn, no.
It's the same plot. It's like The Hangover 2 and 3, same plot. Just we.
Thems.
Yeah. Us again.
Us again. It's just them shrugging on the poster. Guess who it is? Knock knock. Who is it? Us. Us who? Us again.
Yeah. Come on, man.
That was actually a subtle hint at what was gonna happen when we said knock knock. Who's there? You who? You were at your door, knocking on your door. That happened. Haha.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's good. Another good writing.
It's just clever writing. Yeah. Because even though I knew the plot, I didn't even catch that when they just did it. I was just laughing at the bad dad joke. Because it was so natural that I wasn't thinking like, oh, that's a reference. Even though it's very obvious when you realize it. Once you think about it, you're like, yeah, duh. But like, it just fit naturally into the scene, flowed naturally. You're not thinking, oh, this is a film. You're just like, yep, that's family. Oh, it's a good movie.
Yeah, it was good. The more as we're like talking and thinking about it, I'm like, no, I might like it more than I thought walking out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think I do.
It was really clever for sure. Still definitely, I definitely like Get Out better. Get Out was a more original idea. Get Out was a more complete script, and I mean, acting in both was great. So I mean, there weren't really any flaws with Get Out though. Whereas this Get Out was like a solid like 9-star out of 10 movie, and this one was kind of like I feel like this is like a 7.5 type range. Still really good, but it's not like, you know, it's not going to win Best Picture or anything. We could go on and on and on about little things about it, but honestly, just see it if you haven't already, and if you haven't, why are you watching the spoilers, bro? But it's good. I enjoyed it, and it's definitely a movie to watch multiple times. I'm gonna get it when it comes out and rewatch it, try and pick up on little more subtle things, see what else I missed about it, because I'm sure there's plenty I missed. It's very intelligent, so yeah. Thanks, guys.
See ya. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.